Hi, good morning. My name is Ariana Amini. I'm going to be submitting this video as my Module 6, Week 6 assignment in Human Development. I will be using this video as my verbal essay to answer some questions that were posed on the chapter of text that we read this week on early adulthood life. The first question I'm going to be answering is, how does research on life conditions that accelerate telomere shortening illustrate the joint influence of hereditary and environment on biological aging? So what are telomeres? Telomeres are pieces of DNA at the end of our chromosomes that protect the stability of the cell. They're on the end of the chromosomes, and they are a certain length, and with each duplication, they shorten. So after they get to a certain length that they're too short, they die off. And this relates to aging in a way because there's an enzyme called telomerase. And this prevents the shortening of the telomeres, and it can even reverse the trend. There are certain studies regarded around telomeres, and what they found is cigarette use, chronic alcohol abuse, an obese lifestyle with not much activity, someone who has chronic illnesses. These are people who have the perfect risk factors that constantly shorten the telomeres. But there's also research that the enzymes within the telomeres that are protecting the cell from shortening, that they could be a link to an anti-aging serum or cure. We know that all of these bad habits that I mentioned previously accelerate the aging process, with the telomeres getting shorter and shorter and shorter in a much quicker way. So I think that it also plays a really huge role in immune response. So someone with these bad habits or with pre-existing conditions like chronic illness, we do tend to see them age much quicker. And hopefully the research is in the right direction, that we can create a one-stop shop quick fix pill to reverse the clock. Hopefully we get there. I'm not sure if we're there yet. The second question is, why are people in early adulthood committed relationships likely more sexually active and satisfied than those of their dating several partner counterparts? What I got from the text and a little more research I did online was that those who are in committed monogamous relationships usually have more satisfying sex lives because they build a connection with that person. They have fidelity, commitment. These things lead to more satisfying sex and a greater connection with sexual activity. In supportive relationships, we see a lot of benefits to sexual activity and connection and what they do for our health. Greater sexual activity and connection is usually linked to low blood pressure, stress reducer, more intimacy, a greater show of love and affection. These are all positive things for our health, for our physical appearance, for our emotional stability. So I recommend it. I'm in one, and it's sometimes has its challenges, but for the most part is very rewarding. How does expertise affect information processing, and why is expertise necessary but not the same as creativity? So I would say that expertise does not usually require creativity, but creativity generally does require expertise. If you think about it, expertise is different than creativity because someone who is an expert would have been in this field for a very long time, have chosen a career in this field, has a traditional academic degree, studying, researching, and solving problems within this field. They have a more in-depth knowledge than someone who maybe took a class or is a novice to the field and has superficial knowledge, they approach the problems and solutions in this field with a greater understanding of the information. And I would say someone who is more a creative would have to have some type of expertise to be able to understand and produce more abstract concepts and conceptual art. Poets, writers, musicians, they stem from an understanding of the theory, and then they expand on that creatively. So I would say that a doctor is an expertise, a scientist, a scholar, a professor. Those are experts who have made their life's goal academic careers and many years of their life, 8 to 10 years in school, studying one certain field of study. So those achievements are worthwhile, and if you can make contributions to society with them, I think you're all the better. But I would say that experts, I would say that they devote their time to creating something that could be used in real life, and creatives might only produce one amazing work of art or one beautiful song or one concerto, and they don't have the longevity that an expert who has a traditional academic degree probably could do. So number 4, what student and college environment characteristics contribute to favorable psychological changes during the college years? I would say this has to be a loaded question, because there are so many things within the college experience that is conducive to a shift in thought. The impact of college is influenced by diversity of culture, diversity of thoughts, diversity of new people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities. Campus life is a true treat, and someone who can go to a traditional university and get that experience is so worthwhile. Academic and social interactions offer these people in emerging adulthood. They were once considered children, and now they're morphing into who they will become as adults, to engage in these experiences and how to critically think and learn how to think like an adult. They interact with both faculty and fellow classmates and their peers in academic and extracurricular activities. They benefit cognitively in grasping the more complex causes of events and the chains and how they happen. They are tested and faced with real world issues, and they're able to think creatively and critically. They also interact with like a racially and ethnically mixed classroom basis and professors, people in all different hierarchies that are from different backgrounds. And I think that's so valuable for someone to see and experience the benefits of these different walks of life coming together, which is how campus life is so amazing. In college, there's an environment that is conducive to being an advocate. All of a sudden, you're learning about social issues and you're connecting to your community. You're connecting to like-minded people who also are hopeful, and your self-esteem raises. I think it's a very conducive environment for free thinkers and greater thought and self-understanding. Question 5, what cultural changes have led to the emergence of a period known as emerging adult? I did mention this in the last question. Emerging adult is that time period, that phase in between adolescence and adult. It's a transitional period. Young people who are deciding what they want to do, what path they want to take, who they are, what they want to be. They go from high school in that transitional phase to either getting a job, some go to universities, some move out of their parents' home, Some live with friends. Some, live with a romantic partner. Some people even get married and have kids. So it is this transitional phase where people in the ages of 18 to about 26 decide their path. And then usually around their late 20s, early 30s, they become financially independent. They they get their own housing situated. They become romantically involved with someone, and they are working on steps to create their own family and become this full-fledged adult. According to Levinson, how do the life structures of men and women differ? So every adult has a life structure, which is defined by a combination of factors, culturally and physiologically. Most young people have a dream. It starts with a dream and this guideline of what they want their lives to be and how they want to proceed in living their most ideal version of what they thought. So some kind of guideline as to what to do, where to go, what to be. In American society, life patterns of adult males and females are somewhat different. Men in America traditionally remain continuously in the workforce for most of their life. From 25 to 65 is the average. And for most women, it has changed in the last 40 years. But they have a dream of a career, and they do stay in the workplace for 20 to 30 years, possibly with a break in between for child rearing, marriage, raising a family, and romantic commitment. That is also a common pathway. So they have a split dream. They include family and career as one. And by 35 to 40, women's biological clock is ticking. So there is a finite window to have healthy children without chromosomal abnormalities. So this time clock and this social clock, which is a common theme in our text, it is quite pressing. Men can have healthy children well into their 40s and 50s, and women for, especially these days, carrying healthy children without chromosomal abnormalities or any type of chronic illnesses, that is mostly seen under the age of 35. And that concludes my video essay. I was extremely excited to read this chapter because I am in this window. I'm in my early adulthood. I am turning 27 next week, and it was a pleasure to do this assignment. Thank you.